This video has been created to raise awareness of the challenges and the experiences faced by our care leavers, some of the most vulnerable people in our community. We're working with Krunch and the Sandwell Participation Care Leavers team to make this happen.
Care leavers are people who have previously been in care under the Sandwell Children's Trust. For one reason or another, we came into care to keep us safe. If you've got a job in the council, you are a corporate parent to us even after we have left the care system. That means you should treat us as if we are your own children, and you need to be able to advocate for us.
Only 43% of children in care achieve the national curriculum standard expected of all children compared to the 84% of the rest of the population. That makes care experienced young people half as likely to reach this academic standard. Additionally, young people in care are 4 times less likely to achieve enough grades to go to college, providing them with fewer opportunities to pursue certain career paths. You may have also heard that 40% of the youth prison population and 50% of the homeless population are care experienced young people. Or maybe you've read that we make up 70% of sex workers and 22% of us are pregnant before we leave care.
However, care leavers have to grow up much faster than most people, as they often have to move out before they're ready. While some of us are lucky to have had support in our care placement, some of us move out without the guidance that someone would usually receive from their family. We are often placed somewhere unfamiliar with no understanding of our electric, gas and water companies and lack skills in budgeting. Do you think you could have done this at 16? Some of us are still dealing with trauma and suffer with poor mental health and isolation, which can make running a household even more difficult. Whilst we want you to treat us as individuals and avoid making assumptions, this absence of sensitivity has been a huge barrier for us feeling comfortable and confident in our homes. How were you treated when you were looking for a property and how did it make you feel?
So when I was 18, most young people leave care. So I had a couple of options when I was 18. It was either to go into a training flat, go into a council property, or look for some by myself. So when I was with my personal advisor, she took me to see someone from the housing. We had to sit down and we went through sort of a checklist. So I had to meet a certain criteria for applying for a council house, such as if I could cook, if I could clean, if I could wash. And at that time she said I wasn't able to meet the criteria that they've set out for me. And that was heartbreaking. I broke down then with my personal advisor. And then because of that, I had to finish my A-level, then go into start working, and then I did 3 jobs to try and pay for like a private rented accommodation.
It was really difficult. I struggled a lot to kind of find a property and fill out forms and just have general support from housing staff. And when I felt like they looked at me very differently for being a care leaver. And when I said I was a care leaver, they didn't know what care leavers' rights were in a sense.
So what form of accommodation are you living in now and how is it impacting your life?
So I've recently just moved in my priority 1, so I've got a house. It has impacted a lot because I was originally put in a training flat, which I was made to live in for 5 years. But in that time I was put in a place where I didn't really want to be. I was away from family. That sort of had a negative impact, that I was just put somewhere that I didn't want to be. But obviously now that I've got priority band 1, I was able to choose my area, and obviously I'm now happier in a house that, you know, I'm able to run and look after.
So I'm in a 3-bed Victorian style house. Before I was in a flat on 9th floor, which I lived for 6 years, with drug users. There was domestic violence going on, and I would see stuff that's not appropriate that you should be seeing. But now that I'm in a house, it's like, it makes you feel so much more happier. My kids have got a garden, you know, they've got their own bedrooms, and even though I have to pay the top up for the 3rd bedroom because their ages, but I feel like we're happy. That's our kind of forever home in a sense, where they're gonna grow up, they're gonna, you know, grow older and spend their long multiple years.
The accommodation I'm in now is supported accommodation. and since my time being there, it's really impacted my life. It's made me more independent, and I'll get all the support that I get as well from my PA and the council. And my time there has been really good, and I'm looking forward to the future.
What would you expect from a good housing officer?
From a good housing officer, just giving the right support and explaining everything to them, how it needs to be said and what needs to be said, and what they want the person to be expected to do and what they need to do. That's all I want. Just literally just keeping the information fluid and making sure that they know what they're doing. The person knows what they're doing, so to speak.
So a good housing officer would be understanding. They would not judge me for my status as a care leaver. They would support me on my journey.
Just for them to be transparent and able to, be empathetic and, not automatically assume, okay, we've got a care leaver, this person's probably going to cause trouble, or, this person is unable to look after a house.
To understand as soon as I say that I'm a care leaver, to be understanding and not judgmental and not look at me and think, oh, it's just a troubled young person, or, whatever stigma follows the looked after child or care leaver. I don't want them to look at me like that. I want them to look at me for who I am and where I've come from. And understandable, yes, we should be treated differently because we're care leaver, because we don't have the support that we need, we don't have the stability. So we're kind of trying to make our own stability for our own family.
40% of care leavers are neat. We need to get them involved and not let them show on the street.
24% of prisoners have at some point been in care. When compared to the percentage in the population, is that fair?
30% of care leavers have experienced being homeless. Let's give them a voice so they're no longer toneless.
70% of sex workers will look after kids. This needs to be a wellness act, not one that is hid.
22% of parents before they themselves leave care. What an unfortunate situation. What a disadvantaged pair.
77% of care leavers say that they feel lonely. A community that cares is needed, not one that is phony.
58% of care leavers suffer with mental health issues. This is knowledge that needs acting upon, not knowledge to be missed.
57% of care leavers are struggling and in debt. In order for us to overcome this, targets are what need to be set.
Care leavers are 4 times more likely to commit suicide. Love and support is what they need their community to provide.